I wake up later. So I wake up like at 9 or 10 a.m. So much later
Oh,
than you.
okay.
So
All
obviously very
right.
different schedule, right? I start my day much later, but then I stay up later and I like to work in the evenings for sure. Yeah. I go to lots of
Okay.
networking events. Part of my life, as a founder and as a super networker is to go to networking events nearly every single day. And
Oh,
most of
yeah.
these events are in the evening. Typically it's like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever. So I need to be high energy in the evening. That's where literally I do all my social interactions for my startup, right?
Martians landed.
Yes.
Wearing Prada suits.
Yes.
Drinking Henry Seltzer.
Yes.
Chewing juicy fruit.
Yes, and?
Your branding here.
Yes, brand.
Your message here.
Yes, and?
A verse about
Yes.
your product here.
Yes.
I'm Hersh Redfin.
Yes, and?
I'm a message therapist.
Yes.
And I have a podcast.
Yes, brand.
That's right, that's it.
Yes.
We'll help you fix the world.
Yes.
Or your bottom line.
All right.
Your bottom line.
Get it. I get it. Welcome to the Yes Brand Podcast.
So for those of you who are like, well, who are we talking to? It's Mike Adams. And Mike Adams didn't want me to give a big kind of long-winded introduction. You know, he's a super networker, a super connector, and a travel hacker. And he's joining us from London. And we're going to talk about a range of subjects. But let's start with, you mentioned how their networking events and everything are taking place in the evening. And that's so true. And for a good part of my career, especially when I was living in New York and LA, I was going to these things several times a week. And I kind of miss that idea of just stepping out to an event, you know, several times a week. Yeah, what is the most attractive thing to you about networking and meeting people in real life?
You know what? I really take joy and pleasure in making good introductions. And so every time I go to these events, my number one goal is to meet friendly people, exchange interesting information, learn about them, and see what introductions I could make for them. And so that's really what gives me joy and pleasure. And so I've been doing this for more than 10 years now. Been to 1,000 networking events, used to be go to 15 events a week, like super crazy, 3 events a day, every day. And I realized that the most value I get out of it is to make introductions for others where I help them. And that elevates my personal brand and my social proof as a super networker, as a super connector myself. And then, of course, people send me amazing introductions in return. And we kind of all help each other. And so initially, 10 years ago, I used to work in sales. So obviously, my ultimate goal was to get introductions to potential clients to sell them a product or a service. But nowadays, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't want anything in return because I've built my own startup, which is specifically about other people making introductions and for them to be rewarded. So I'm not
Right.
looking for anyone. When people ask me, who are you looking to meet? I'm looking to meet cool people, friendly
Yeah, yeah.
people, and super connectors. No, really. So I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not selling. I just want to help people and create incredible success stories around other super connectors, people who just get it, who understand the value of great introductions. And I take joy and pleasure in that. That's really my ultimate
Yeah.
goal. Now, of course,
Clearly you do.
there's a business behind that. Of course there is, but it's about
Yeah.
helping others having fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but you flipped the script on sales because what is sales about anyway is about an emotional connection, a
Yeah.
legitimate and authentic connection. It's just that at the end of the introduction or at the end of the connection is this idea of a transaction. And in so many cases, for so many of us, it feels forced. It feels like, why are we ruining this great relationship with a business transaction at the end of the conversation? And of course, that's mindset. There's so much more to it. But we should mention that the name of the startup is Introstars, which
Yeah.
I love. I love the name, the logo, the brand Introstars. That's why I was so excited to have you on the show, not just because it gave me a chance to try to match your excitement and enthusiasm, but because it takes a certain amount of dedication to launch and grow a brand, especially when it's so dependent on interconnectivity. And I've been so impressed with how you've gone about this because it also follows a rule that I kind of unofficially adhere to with my work and with my clients, which is give weight to the individual spark that sets you apart. You know, give honor to the things that make you truly different and embrace those because that's what people will remember. Where did you learn how to lean into what you really care about and what really makes you unique?
Well, I've always craved connection. In my early 20s, I used to go to lots of clubs. I was based in Brussels, in Belgium. And in Brussels, and in Belgium in general, clubs are opened very late. So typically, people go out to a club at 1 o'clock in the morning and they would go till 8 or 9 in the morning, like really, really
Yeah.
late, right? Crazy late. And so I would easily go to 3 or 4 clubs in one night. So I would go to one club at 1 a.m., another one at 3 a.m., another one at 5 a.m. And I used to do this every single week, 10, 15 clubs a week for years and years and years and years. So I was literally the king of nightclubs in Belgium. Everyone knew me. I was on television as a super, night party animal, etc. But what I was doing in all these nightclubs, I was talking to people, meeting people, working the room, making as many
Yeah.
connections as possible. This was in my 20s. And then in my 30s, I worked in sales. And I realized that trying to cold call people or cold email people is a lost cause. Everyone hates cold calls. Everyone hates cold emails. No one picks up the phone anymore. With AI, it's even worse, of course. And so I realized that the way to cut through the noise and to enjoy it, most importantly, having fun, is to go to networking events and actually meet people in person, not to try to sell them anything. Those people you're meeting are not potential clients, but they are potential introducers. They can open doors for you. And so I met a bunch of people who defined themselves as networkers, professional networkers. And I was fascinated by that. I didn't understand how it worked. And I kind of met a few of them and I realized they spend their whole life going to loads of networking events and then they talk to each other to introduce potential clients to each other and send leads to each other. And so there's this secret society of super networkers who, like super connectors really, who send
Yeah.
all these introductions to each other. And if you can gain their trust and be inserted into that circle of trust, that's how you get a lot of business. And I became that. So by going to all these events, I built trust with all these people. I started sending them introductions and referrals. So they started trusting me and, of course, sending me referrals. And so I ended up being a part of this mafia of super connectors and super networkers. And I thought it was amazing. It was like a secret society no one knew about. I was like, oh my gosh, I just uncovered the secret. It was incredible. And I built a pipeline of $7 million of business, just networking, zero cold calls, zero cold emails, just going day in, day out, networking every single day. And then the next day, going for coffee with all the people I had met the night before and catching up and sending introductions to each other. So I realized that's where the value is. That the value is not in cold calls and cold emails. That's dead. The value is
It's
warm
yeah.
introductions from trusted people. That is where it's at. But I found also there was no startup working on that. There was no platform. Everything was done under the table. It's all gentlemen's agreements. It's all very informal, kind of hush hush. Maybe I'll pay your referral commission, maybe not. There's a bunch of emails back and forth. No, there's no structure to it. There's no transparency. It's all kind of very opaque. And I thought this was 10 years ago. If only there was a platform for this where people can clearly say what they're looking for, how much they're happy to pay as a referral commission on success, and then for other introducers and networkers to find those opportunities and send them referrals and go out of their way to become super connectors. And so that's what I built. My startup Introstars is really built on my personal experience going to 1,000 networking events, talking to tens of thousands of people, and realizing that everybody is looking for introductions. And
Yeah.
everybody loves to make introductions for others. It's in our human nature, it's in our DNA. But there's no way to bring those things together in a coherent, sustainable, scalable way to properly reward introducers where that becomes a side hustle or even a career to be an official
Yeah.
introducer or super connector.
Well, this is what I want to get into is the logistics of that as well, because you're so right. You took what you did was you took that last kind of uncomfortable piece, which is, am I doing this as a favor? Or are they doing it as, do they expect something? They expect 10%, 20%, and you're systematizing it so that people know what they're doing and what their purpose is. They can have that out of the way. But I want to go back for 1 minute to this lifestyle and schedule of, you know, in your 20s going to events, three, four a night, starting at 1 in the morning. And of course, that's for some people, that's a lifestyle. For some people, it is a job being a club kid or whatever we used to call it. I did that for 1 week in Ibiza, but I certainly wouldn't call that the most productive week of my life or the most productive business plan. I did go with my business partner, but it was just for fun. But that was the lifestyle. The clubs start going at 1, and you go to one place till 3, you go to another place till 5, you go to another place till 8, you go to another place till 11. And of course, you don't go to your office from there. But for you, for your personality, do you drink? Did you not never drink? What was
To be honest, I was never into alcohol or I never took drugs, none of that. And I drank very little. I really was not into alcohol at all. It's not my thing. No, I just had natural energy. For me, what gave me energy was music. I love techno music, so good beats,
uh-huh.
good techno, and meeting interesting people. When I made good connections, I met interesting people in a nightclub or wherever I went. That gave me energy. So my energy was fed by music and people. So if it was good music and or good people, I was energized for the whole night.
You were energized. Yeah,
But
well,
if
let
the
me ask
music
you.
wasn't good, I would leave. If I didn't meet anyone friendly, boom, I would just move on to the next one, right? That's it.
Well, exactly. And rooms are super important because, and you can tell us what you feel about this, rooms have a certain vibe. So you go into an event or a party or a club or a restaurant or any situation, there's a certain vibe. Now, some people can walk into a room and change the vibe. Automatically, they come in, and either because their personality is very dominant or because they just have a certain aura. They don't have to be necessarily the loudest person in the room, but they change the energy. But what is your feeling about how to figure out what was the right place to go, or what were the criteria for you?
To be honest, a lot of it was hit and miss. You just go to a place and figure it out. It's not like I had specific criteria to decide whether I would go somewhere or not. Lots of it, I just went to any random event and kind of felt the vibe. And in most cases, even a boring event, you'll still meet at least one person of interest, someone who's vaguely interesting, who could potentially introduce you to someone else. But then sometimes you just don't feel it. I would say it's more emotional than rational. So it's not like I could explain it in clear words. It's more like you
Mhm.
walk into a room, you talk to a few people, and you kind of feel emotionally whether you feel good or not about that vibe and that place. And it also has to do with your personal energetic state. Sometimes you're just tired. You had a long day, you're tired, just don't have the energy. And then after 10 minutes at an event, you're just bored, you just don't feel the vibe. And maybe there's nothing wrong with the event. It's just you that day who don't feel, you just don't feel it. And that's fine. And you just go home and no, nothing wrong happened, nothing bad happened. And that happens
Yeah.
often. And it's fine, nothing wrong with that. And other times, maybe it's a boring event, but you meet one really cool person, you have a 2 hour conversation with them, and you're super excited. And think, oh, I met
Yeah.
this amazing person. Wow, what a cool event. Right.
But what
And so
about, let me
really,
stop
it's
you.
very subjective. There's no, I can't just list you a list of criteria
Right,
to
right.
make an event cool or not, right?
Well, and it's not so much about cool. So let's dive into Introstars a little bit and tell me how it all works because you have people in different industries. Like someone would say, I serve the dental industry. I want to meet people who are in the dental business because I sell dental supply, whatever it is. But tell me how it works so that it serves members and serves the audience.
You know what? It's funny. In some cases, you do want to be industry specific because you want to mingle with people in your industry. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I've done it. However, my personal experience is that most people have a wide network across many industries because even if you work in only one industry, you might have like family members or people you went to university with or
Right.
friends who are in a completely different industry,
Right.
but you're connected to them and you can introduce them to someone you meet. So I try to not focus so much on being super limiting. So imagine I work in HR, only want to meet HR people, or I work in tech, I only want to meet tech people. No, no, because everyone needs HR, everyone needs tech, everyone needs a plumber, an electrician, an accountant, right? So it's not so constrained. I prefer to kind of leave it wide open, go to kind of weird events in every industry, niche industry, meet a bunch of people in different industries, and there's always someone I could potentially introduce to them. And
Yeah.
that's the way I prefer to do it. However, Like 10 years ago, I used to work in AV technology, audio-visual technology, like stuff for meeting rooms, like video conferencing, etc. And back in the day, I didn't want to network in the AV industry, but I did want to network in the commercial real estate industry. So people doing like office relocations, office fit outs, office furniture. So it's kind of a much wider industry. So that was the industry I was networking in. So not specific to my domain, but kind of the wider community around that.
Yeah, yeah.
That
So
makes
you're
sense, right? To kind of be a bit wider in your net.
Yeah. So the way you think, Mike, is you kind of think of all of these extensions. You meet one person and they're in one industry, but they know people tangentially who are in other industries. Then there's also the fact that they may have complementary contacts that, through by virtue of their being, let's say, an AV, they're also dealing with people who own spaces, people who are looking for spaces, and that ends up spilling over into commercial real estate, let's say, as an example.
Maybe the
Now
way
that,
to look at it is the
yeah.
people you're going to network with, again, are not potential clients, they're potential introducers. And that's a fundamental difference. So imagine if you're looking for clients, then you're going to say, oh no, I need to network in this specific industry, which is the industry I'm selling to. But again, that's the wrong approach. You don't go to a networking event to sell stuff. You go to a networking
Mhm.
event to build relationships, to help each other, to build trust. So those people you just met can introduce you to someone else. So with that mindset, then it makes sense to go in other industries and really cast a wider net than just your own specific niche industry you're selling to. So that's my experience of it. And to be honest, my favorite types of networking events are events for startup founders. So startup founders in general are very ambitious people. They want to invent the future. They want to create something out of nothing. They're full of positive energy and optimism and obviously a lot of energy to create all this stuff they're creating. And so I like to hang out with other startup founders because I love that type of energy. But these startup founders, they're across every industry, right? Every industry has startup founders. Like there's startups in every possible domain you could think of. And very often I'm very surprised when I hear the story of a startup founder and they describe their startup to me, whatever it is. Some of it is so obscure and so niche at an extreme level. I'm always so puzzled. Like, how did they decide to build an app in this super, super, super niche sector? But they're passionate about it, right? That's cool. I would never
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
myself, but good for them,
But as a result, you learn a lot or learn a little about a lot. You expand your own knowledge base. This makes you a better conversationalist, makes you a better connector in that way. But tell me how Introstars works.
Yeah, so Introstars is really about solving the conundrum of making good introductions, tracking them, and rewarding the introducer. So think of it as a two-sided platform. On one side, you have people who want to receive introductions to their ideal customers. So these are typically B2B salespeople, consultants, startup founders, and then agencies. They're all looking for clients, B2B clients. And so they go to Introstars and they describe their ideal customer profile and they post it on the website with the reward they're happy to pay to the introducer on success. Typically, it's a percentage of the deal. Let's say 5 or 10% or whatever they want.
Hmm.
The more generous they are, the more introductions they get. Simple as that. So, as an intro seeker, you post what you're looking for. And really think of Introstars as a warm referral platform. You get warm referrals. And then on the
Yeah.
other side of the platform, you have introducers, people making introductions for you to send you all these referrals. And those introducers is pretty much anyone with a big network. So people who work in sales and marketing and recruitment, brokers, agents, anyone who's got a big network who loves to introduce people. And they go to Introstars, they sign up for free, it's completely free, and they can simply browse what intro seekers are looking for, what introductions they're looking for, so they can find someone in their network who is relevant, who they could introduce. And then the platform tracks those introductions over time. So if a deal gets done, let's say 3 months later or 6 months later, the introducer gets paid that percentage of the deal. So they're rewarded on success. And so really, it creates this win-win situation where the intro seekers get introductions to their ideal clients. So they're super happy, they close deals. And the introducers are happy because they're helping other people. They love to help, they're connecting the dots, and they get paid a lot of money. I mean, the average deal size on Introstars is $50,000. The average introduction reward is $5,000 per introduction. So that's a lot. That's a lot of money for
Yeah.
one introduction, which took you 3 minutes to make. It's like 3 emails done. So it's really easy, but extremely rewarding. And so I believe we're ushering in the intro economy where millions of people will become introducers as a side hustle. So on top of your day job, whatever your day job is, you can earn five or $10,000 per month by just making a few introductions. And I think that's the ultimate side hustle for millions and millions of people across every industry because everyone loves to introduce people. Again, we love it. It's in our human nature. If only there was a way to make money from that and help each
Yeah,
other.
well,
That's what we
well,
figured
what
out.
I Yeah, you're right. Well, what I love about it is that I've talked about this on the show before. I'm not a very active affiliate marketer, right? Like if people have services that are complementary to mine that really like fall within my wheelhouse of expertise, but maybe I don't do it. So an example would be publicity, like PR. I used to do PR. I'm not a publicist anymore. I'm a personal brand consultant now, but a lot of my clients will need PR or want to find a publicist. So my having a couple of really good publicists that might be good to refer, that makes sense. But I'm
Yeah.
not going to sell batteries or sell a car mechanic to people as an affiliate. It's
Yeah.
not where I'm going to go. But when you're tapping into your network of who do you know, who do you like, who do you trust, and someone else needs a referral and you're playing matchmaker, you're right. That is a very natural, human, comfortable thing to do.
Yeah. And I
So
see it
you
as a
said,
game. It's like fun. I just see it as like solving a puzzle. You see, these two pieces of the puzzle are separate. They don't know each other. And you connect them together. Like you're solving the puzzle, right? And it's fun. It's like a game.
yeah, but are the B2B, let's say service providers, are they paying a monthly membership at
They do. They
Introstars?
pay a monthly membership. Exactly. They pay a monthly membership to publish what they're looking for on the platform, correct?
Right.
And then they pay a success fee, which they set themselves. They set the reward themselves. They decide what the
And,
reward is on success.
and does Introstars participate in the success fee or just the membership?
So we take 10% of the success fee, of the success reward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So really, it's in our best interest to have as many success stories as possible, right? So we want our
Yes.
members to be happy. We only want to create a win-win-win situation where everyone's a winner. So the intro
Right.
seeker is a winner, the introducer's a winner, we're a winner. Everyone's the customer, the lead is a winner. They got a new service provider. So everyone's a winner. We only want to create a win-win-win situation. So everyone has to be, to get value out of it. That's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And does this, I think you alluded to it, but is it a platform as well? In other words, let's say I'm an Intrastar member, which by the way, I'm glad we're even doing this because we get so busy and we think to ourselves, oh man, what a great idea. What a great thing that is. And I don't know why I haven't looked into it or signed up. It's crazy. Like it's like, why wouldn't I? But when I do that, is there a dashboard, like a management a platform that helps keep track of everything?
Yeah, Introstars is really a fully online platform. So we've built it from scratch as a proper, web app. So it's a real app where you can see everyone's profile. You can do the matchmaking on the platform. It generates email templates for you to make the introductions. It tracks all the introductions. There's a dashboard, which is called the Intro Tracker. Intro Tracker is our registered trademark for our dashboard to track all the introductions you've made and received. And then we've got a legal framework to protect our users, and we call it Intro Protect. So that allows our users to have peace of mind that if they make an introduction on the platform and a deal gets done, they will get paid a reward. So there's a commitment from both sides to make sure it's all legally protected on the platform. And then it's also tied to your LinkedIn reputation. So to sign up on the platform, we use LinkedIn as your login mechanism, as your LinkedIn profile. So it makes it very easy. You don't have to create a new login and password. You just use LinkedIn login, one click, you're in. And it's based on your user reputation on your LinkedIn profile. And so that means we avoid all the bad players, all the scammers, all the fake profiles. It's all real people who have a trusted network. And you can see how many mutual connections you have with them. You can see how many recommendations they have. So it's all based on trust, right? High value trust.
Yeah.
And then we just launched something really exciting, which is you can now have badges on your profile. Every time you make a bunch of introductions, you get points. We call them Introstars points. And with those points, you get a badge on your profile. And that badge certifies you as a super connector. You can then publish this badge on your LinkedIn profile as an official certificate to officially certify to the whole world that you are effectively a super connector. So that elevates your personal brand and your social proof. So that means many more customers will come towards you because they'll see, oh, wow, Hersh has such a good reputation as a super connector. He must be a good guy. I want to do business with him. And so we truly
Yeah.
believe in that social proof as well.
Yeah, yeah. And while there are organizations and there are things out there that do certain pieces of this, but I don't really know of anything that is so kind of proactive and interactive. There are CRMs that kind of track stuff. There are organizations that support mutual referrals and connections and track them, but
Yep.
it just isn't as honestly, I think, as comprehensive or as full of positive energy, which is just, we shouldn't underestimate, I think, where that all comes from. It all kind of circles back to your energy and your enthusiasm for trust and connection, you
It's
know?
also about making it more open. So there are many groups out there which are closed groups of people who send each other referrals, right? Referral groups. There's many of
Right.
them, many, all
Yes.
over the
Yeah.
world. But those closed groups, by definition, are closed groups. So typically there's like small groups, like 20, 30 people each, and they've got different chapters, et cetera, et cetera. But we want to create a global community of millions of people, right? It's not like a small thing with a few people send each other one referral a month. No, it's a global movement of true super connectors open to anyone based on user reputations. There's still obviously a background verification and
Yeah.
trust and all that stuff, but anyone can join the movement and become a super connector. So it's not elitist. It's really, we are opening up this intra economy for anyone to do. And also, what's very important here is we don't want anyone to spam each other. So an intro seeker, a service provider, cannot ask people on the platform to send them introductions. Because the problem with that, most other platform, what happens is service providers are always spamming people, begging them for introductions. And there's only
Uh-huh.
so many favors you can ask. So in our system, an intro seeker, a service provider, cannot reach out to introducers. Only introducers can reach out to intro seekers to offer them
Oh.
introductions, not the other way around. And this is a game changer because think of it like Bumble on the dating app Bumble.
Yeah.
Men cannot approach women, only women can approach men. So the women have to make the first move, right? And if the woman makes the first move, then the man can respond and all that. So that's great. But here, same thing. We don't want the service providers going spamming all the introducers, asking them for introductions. So we took that deliberate approach to protect our introducers where they have to make the first move. And that's a fundamental difference because, again, no spamming, no harassing, only the people who are empowered to make that first move are the introducers, the super connectors who actually have the connections. So that's a fundamental difference to anything out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
That's a great thing to point out, Mike, because it all, again, I look at it from the point of view of you're removing obstacles to business because that's exactly something that only hurts business. The fact that somebody would be bothering people to recommend them or bothering them to give them referrals. It's like you don't want to do that. So you've taken that out of it. It's just people that want to give referrals are looking for good people to give referrals to. They find you and they refer you. And again, no friction, no obstacles there. Now, for
Yeah.
you, coming back to you, now you're in London. How long have you lived in London?
So I've been here more than 20 years in London. So I'm having fun. I live in central London. However, I travel a lot. So
Yeah.
this year I'm doing 43 flights around the world. I already booked 25 flights for next year, and there's gonna be many more, of course. And so even though London is my home base, I love it here. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm a man of the world, every two
Yeah.
weeks you'll see me somewhere else on a different continent.
Coming back to that issue of figuring out where to go, now you have Introstars as kind of the North Star for you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what everything is feeding into. But
Yeah.
how do you figure out? Because I love this. I mean, look, I have five kids, three are grown, one's in college, and one's still in middle school. So the
Yeah.
idea of my going to a different country every 2 weeks is probably not realistic. But I do love to travel. My wife loves to travel too, but she travels a lot for work. But let's say that you're traveling every couple of weeks somewhere. How do you decide where you're going, what for, and all of that?
Yeah, and to be honest, some of the travel is purely for business and some is purely for fun and some is in between. So
Yeah.
right now, really, I'm focusing my efforts on London and New York. So I travel to New York quite a lot to meet other super connectors in New York, to build partnerships, to do events in person with other New Yorkers. And then as of next year, I'm going to expand to Silicon Valley and San Francisco. So I'm going to spend a lot of time in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, back and forth. And I'm slowly seeding Introstars with other super connectors in other cities in the US. So in
Uh-huh.
Dallas, in Austin, in Denver, Boston. So I'm going to a bunch of other cities to start to meet super connectors who could help me expand in those cities. But then most of the rest of my travel is for fun or for spiritual retreats or just meditation retreats, discovering the world, meeting cool people. So there's no clear agenda. I've got a list of cool countries I want to go to, a list of cool events happening at conferences, etc. And I just kind of pick them. And usually I book about 10 or 11 months in advance, which is a bit crazy. And that's
Yeah.
because my personal passion is travel hacking. So, what is travel hacking? Travel hacking is the art and science of finding loopholes with credit cards to get nearly infinite points and miles from those credit cards, which you can then exchange for airline miles. And then you can travel all over the world in business or first class for free, like a movie stars. So I
Yeah.
literally I do a lot of that. So that's my personal hobby. I spend maybe 5, 10 minutes a day on that. And thanks to that, I now have millions of points. I can book my travel, as I said nearly a year in advance, in all fancy places of the world in first class for free. Right. So
Wow.
literally last night at 11 p.m., I was booking my flights for November 2026, like a year in advance,
Uh-huh.
literally because the price was about to increase in points and I want to have the best possible point price. So again, I'm always finding the best deal with credit card points and new credit cards and signing up to new credit cards and canceling credit cards and moving money from one
Okay.
card to another. There's all these weird manipulations you can do. And I found there's like a secret society of travel hackers. There's loads of travel hackers out there, and they've got like WhatsApp groups and online forums. And so, yeah, there's like a whole community of people doing this. It's kind of a fun
Okay.
hobby.
Well,
Yeah.
well, this way, yeah. And I have a friend who's also a travel hacker, and sometimes he's found me amazing deals, but he also has figured out a lot of these hacks. Can you give the audience a couple of primo hacks that you feel you can share?
Yeah, to be honest, it would be a 5 hour masterclass to go into the detail of it. So it's not something you can learn in 5 minutes. However,
Yeah.
the big top line to remember is that there are many, many credit cards which give you a very generous welcome bonus or sign up bonus. And so if you sign up to multiple credit cards, you can already stack up all these welcome sign up bonuses, and they're quite significant. Like some cards give you 50,000 points as a welcome bonus or 100,000 points. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
lot. That's like a one-way business class trip to Europe from the US or from Europe to Asia. So that's already very generous. I mean, that's already very powerful just to focus on those sign-up bonuses. And bear in mind, they change every month. There's always different promotions. So you might have special promotion in January where a specific credit card increases their sign-up bonus to 100,000 points. But then the following month it goes down to 50,000, but another card increases to 200,000. So every month is different. So you have to kind of stay on top of all these credit card promotions to sign up just at the right time when there's a big sign up bonus, right? So that's one way to do it. And then the other thing to do is to always read. There's loads of travel blogs. One is called The Points Guy. One is called 1 Mile at a Time. One is called God Save the Points. We've got all these travel blogs, and they talk about a lot of these credit card tricks and hacks. They stay kind of high level. They don't share all the real hacks, which give you many more points, but it's a good start. So I'd say as a
Yeah.
baby step, have at least one credit card, which gives you points every time you spend money. That's really kind of the basic thing you want to do. And then every month, make sure to always pay back the full amount on your credit card. Never have outstanding debts, ever, ever, ever. Because that will destroy the entire game because then you have to pay massive interest rates. And then those
Yeah.
points become like a huge expense. So that it defeats the whole purpose. So only spend on your credit card as much as you can repay each month in full, right? That's a golden rule of travel hacking as well.
Well, that would be good advice for anybody. And what I wonder is, though, with so many of the cards, do you keep those accounts open?
No.
Just
So to be honest,
no.
I've signed up to more than 80 credit cards in the last 5 years, but right
Yeah.
now in my wallet, there's only four. So I cancel
Right.
most of them. I sign up to a new card and I cancel it, a new card, I cancel it, a new card, I cancel it. So I keep canceling. I never keep more than 3 or 4 cards at any
And
one game.
that doesn't adversely affect your credit rating.
No, as long as you keep one card for a long, long, long time, your credit score is going to
Yeah,
be good.
and use
You
it.
have to keep at least one card for many, many years. Yeah, that will increase
Yeah.
your credit score for sure. And then again, paying back every month in full. That's super important.
Yes.
Never,
Yeah.
ever miss a payment, ever, because that will damage the whole game. So that's really important. Yeah, and then make sure you maximize all these welcome bonuses. What's important as well is many cards, like Amex, American Express, have like 15 different cards. They give you a higher welcome bonus, sign up bonus, if you use someone else's referral link. So make sure you always ask one of your friends to give you their referral link and use that link to sign up to a new card because that will give you a much bigger welcome bonus than if you go directly to their website to sign up. So always use someone else's
Oh, good
referral link.
advice.
That makes a big difference. So I really focus on that. That's not a small detail, that's a big thing. Make sure you focus on these referrals. And then once you have a credit card, share your own referral link from your credit card with your own friends or family members if they want to sign up to a credit card, because then you get a referral bonus as well as the person who
Yeah.
referred them. And those referral bonuses are very significant. Some of them go up to 18,000 points for one referral. So
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot of points. So again, you don't want to miss out on that. That's really important. Focus on those
Well,
things. Yeah.
see, Mike, and that circles back to very neatly fit into the Introstars model of referrals and being a referrer. And I think it's awesome. Well, this has been so much fun. I mean, there is a 5 hour masterclass for both sides of this conversation, but where can people find you? And then take us out with maybe one more networking tip to heighten and intensify the success of our listeners.
Absolutely. Really, my ultimate spiritual mission in life is to inspire millions of people to become super connectors, to choose that as a career path or do that as a side hustle, just introduce people. And so, really, my advice for anyone listening to this or watching this is to go to as many networking events as you can just to meet new people. And when you meet someone there, do not try to sell them anything. Just try to become their friends, to be nice to them, to be pleasant, to be likable, and always ask them this very important question, which is, who could I introduce to you? That is the best question you could ask someone else when you meet them, because everyone is looking for introductions, whether it's new clients, investors, business partners, etc. So that is the best question you can ask anyone. And then if they respond to that question, go out of your way to make that introduction happen. Don't forget about it. Actually do it, right? And that will elevate your personal brand, will create good karma, and will make you a happy and successful person. So that is my ultimate message for everyone watching or listening to this. So my name is Mike Adams. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. My handle on LinkedIn is Super Mike. So very easy to remember, Super Mike. So it's linkedin.com/in/Super Mike. And then check out our website, introstars.com. And it's called Introstars because introducers are stars. They create new opportunities. 1 + 1 = 3. You always create a new opportunity which wasn't there before. So let's make the world a better place by making more introductions. And that's really my message for everyone here today.
Well, Mike, you are a super intro star, Super Mike on LinkedIn. Find him. Thank you so much for joining this special season of Yes Brand, our season 7.
Thank you so much, Hersh. What a pleasure to have you here.
All right.
If you liked the show,
Yes, and
it worked for you,
yes, then.
subscribe and leave a
Yes, friend.
5-star review.
Yes, friend.
Tell all your friends.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Did I make it clear?
Yes, friend.
Get your branding on
Yes.
before they're gone.
Yeah. Huh?